stages of this competition. They've both lifted trophies. Atlanta in 2019, Orlando the very next tournament in 2022 after we missed 2 years of Open Cup. It's a spot in the semis on the line. It's Orlando and Atlanta next.
Orlando City contra Atlanta United. Orlando City contra Atlanta United. Orlando City contra Atlanta United. United. Orlando City. Orlando City.
Rotation for the Lions that we'll see Angulo drop in. They can create a 4, over pivot on the right, sending Dorsey high, and they can counteract that, mirroring the image on the left flank. What you want to watch for is centrally all of the movement defensively to make sure they're not conceding too much transitionally. Now, Atlanta United and Tata Martino have rolled out a lineup that is very different, unprecedented from everything we've ever seen Tata put out. This should be a 5-back system. Baez can play high, well in transition. Edwards can do the same thing. If they deviate from that, it will be a very different plan than anything they have done in previous iterations under the 5 stripes.
And away we go in the corners. It's Atlanta United in the beige from left to right, Orlando in their purple from right to left. Happy to have you with us this evening on Paramount Plus alongside Devin Kerr. I am Joe Malfa. 2 bitter rivals meeting for the 27th time overall. The last 4 days ago, they met in big moments in this tournament. 2019 in the semifinals. Atlanta won it 2-0 here in this building on the road. And we're out to a trophy lift of their own. Lorenzo Hernandez, the referee in charge this evening, might have his hands full. 2 teams who simply put hit each other's guts, and they're probably sick of seeing each other just a few days apart. West to back for Brecalo, or Johnson rather, Brecalo. It'll be a feeling out process having met a few days ago. Will they get right after it? The shifts to the lineups might indicate that there could be a bit of a feeling out process.
Well, certainly the fixture that was 1-1 and an opportunity to play just a few days later starts to play mind games if you're in a tactical session. What do we change? What was successful? What didn't work? How do we find a way to create a deadlock? No matter what, different than league play, we obviously will 100% have a winner in this match. And I think the thing that you have to look at for Atlanta United is the way you go about representing yourself on the width of the field. So good playing in the 4-back system, pushing the outside backs high and allowing that front line to become narrow. In the absence of that extra striker, when you sit into a 5, you're naturally going to have players on both flanks. So making sure that as you shift defensively, you still give yourself proper coverage up high. They've struggled with that.
Look on the set piece for the home side. Martin Ojeda has played in this league at an MVP level. To take it. 1 goal, 1 assist this season on the heels of 16 goals, 15 assists last season. Ojeda drops it in. And a hold strong. Angulo. The outside backs for Orlando. Angulo on the left side, Griffin Dorsey on the other. Get forward so much. This one looped forward toward Ojeda. What a play. Could have his hands full tonight. Jaden Hibbert has been the cup keeper for Atlanta. Hasn't played yet in the regular season. Has started each game in this tournament for Atlanta United.
He'll certainly be familiar with what the scout is going to be from Orlando City, though. Right now, Martin Pettleman has reached a point of consistency that does allow a lot of freedom within the system. It's more so about who's going to drop into the pocket, help Ellis up high. If he's not the one dropping in, Ellis and Ojeda have done such a good job in transition, but they've grown a lot in ball possession and become more threatening in tight-knit areas. They're just trying to find a way to provide coverage in open field transitions for this back three that is really good in one-on-one markings, but unfortunately, they've conceded way too many situations where they're running downhill and they're trying to tighten those groupings to assist each other both ways.
Alexei Miranchuk dropping in deep. Latelat gives it away. Atuesta feeding it along for Thiago. Justin Ellis calling for it, crashing. It's another corner for Orlando, swarming early. Similar to how things went in the matchup on the weekend, Orlando came out strong. Griffin Dorsey scored in the 17th minute to give them the lead. Atlanta tied it in the 85th minute. Jay Fortune with the equalizer. So far, similar to the weekend. Home side starting strong. Atlanta on their heels now. Ojeda from the corner. Taken away by Baez. As far as Ellis. Brian Ojeda plays another in the free header! David Brecalo gives Orlando the early lead!
Great thing about Orlando City and the change under Martin Pettleman is the constant commitment of numbers going forward. And yes, this ball's off a recycled set piece, but the movement that you get on the backside and the underlap to create the space centrally for them, incredible. Atlanta doesn't step out quick enough. It allows Ojeda to not only set himself up, but put this thing on an absolute platter inside the 6. All you're trying to do is hit a mark here. Stick it back into the danger area. The back line, not set. Brecalo recognizes, just explodes in front of the 9, Latte Lot. One of the easiest finishes he's going to get in his career, and a dream start for the home squad.
Doesn't score often, hasn't in the regular season this year, only has 2 in his entire stint in MLS. Big target, recycled set piece, 1-0 to the home side. Good opportunity to remind you, now that we're in the quarterfinals, you did see some Atlanta defenders sheepishly raise their arms hoping for an offside call. There is VAR now at this stage of the tournament onward. So if it were a question, it could have been looked at, but clear and obvious there. Brecalo on, Orlando ahead, and searching for more already.
And with all the names that you look at on the attacking side of the ball for Orlando City, the greatness of Martin Ojeda, the surge of homegrown Justin Ellis, Atuesta in his control. Thiago stepping up high. The wingbacks. It's a center back that creates the opener. The belief that really anyone can make an impact under interim head coach Martin Pedelman.
In they go again. Miranchuk recovers. Is it difficultly off Jay Fortune, who's hacked down. Hernandez saw nothing in it. It's interesting, these two teams, if you look at the individual pieces, it feels like they should be better along than they are. Slow start for Orlando City. Necessitates a coaching change. Martin Pedelman, ever since March 11th, rising up as the interim from their bench. He's the assistant. Oscar Pareja had been a head coach in the organization before in MLS Next Pro, so he has head coaching experience. Sometimes it's all it takes. Some new ideas, some new bodies getting some opportunities like a Justin Ellis, and all of a sudden, he started to turn things around.
Well, it's not just a singular entity coming up through the homegrown ranks in Justin Ellis. You got to be willing to challenge the narrative at every angle.
Dorsey, still with it. Griffin Dorsey, saved off the line. Edwards tracking back and out for a goal kick off of Dorsey.
Nice quick combination play on the far side, and you'll see this all night long. Griffin Dorsey, chalk on the boots, high and wide, and his free-flowing runs, always with a quality top-end speed. Love how he draws the center back. Ronald Hernandez always over. Great recovery by Matt Edwards. Not the cleanest of balls coming through. Wanted to cut it, recognized he had a very acute angle to get it there, so why not try to the far post? And Edwards the hero to keep it out.
Jaden Hibbert getting acquainted with the wall. 21-year-old goalkeeper. Is the cup keeper for Atlanta. It's a similar story on the other side for Tata Martino's Atlanta United. After such a slow start, starting to find a groove. Another team that has a lot of individual talent and hadn't quite come together yet. In his first year back with Atlanta, not his first year as the Atlanta head coach, but coming back this year. 2017, 2018, so much success culminating in winning MLS Cup in 2018.
And late additions to the group. Fafa Pico, Sergio Santos, dealing with injuries. Miguel Almiron, the Paraguayan, most recently unavailable, actually went out during the Chattanooga match, hasn't been back since, and now you're trying to pair together players like a Galarza, Cooper Sanchez in the midfield, make sure that the ideas instilled during preseason can remain constant regardless of personnel on the field, and that certainly has become more consistent recently. The problem is they've become a bit convoluted with the rotating bodies where you're getting about 75% of the output that you're looking for, and that remaining 25% has caused some nicks and pains down the stretch, conceding points. Not during open cup play, though.
Back toward Miranchuk. It's away. Fortune. Sit back for Sanchez. Through for Miranchuk. Trying to touch it on for Latelat. Quality in the group. Miranchuk, Latelat. Hasn't quite clicked yet for those two, for this organization. Coming off the worst season in club history last year. To the dismissal of Ronnie Dyla at the end of last season. Their fewest points per game in a season ever since they entered MLS. Even worse than that 2020 shortened season. Edwards tracks it down. Hernandez. Miranchuk, never shy about having a go. Flips this one instead. Flipped through the chest of Javier Otero. Fortune coming through. Had his eye on the ball the whole time, but a bit careless. Otero paid for it.
Before Griffin Dorsey decided he wanted to start a track meet about 2 minutes prior, running through the list of players that interim head coach Martin Pedelman has given an opportunity to. It's not just a Justin Ellis or a Caraballo or a Tahir Reed Brown. Javier Otero atop that list as well, who sort of felt like the heir apparent under Pedro Galese for years until Trey Pro was brought in. Have to imagine one day that young man right there will certainly be donning the starting jersey. If not for Orlando, the talent will be recognized and picked up.
It's always the difficulty of being a goalkeeper. There's one job and you're not making a substitution in game like other positions. So it's either your job or it isn't. Being behind a club legend like Gillespie and now one of the better goalkeepers, MLS and Crepeau could be the starter for Canada coming up in the World Cup. Difficult place to be for Otero.
In areas like this, if you're Orlando City, you have to be careful because with Atlanta United's tactical change, you can create a lot of one-on-one situations, fight fire with fire. They'll come down deep to pick up possession because they want to play out and create combination play. But that's also going to squeeze the field, and that's where the pressure has to be spot on. You let them out like this, you're going to have a ton of space running downhill and be in real trouble defensively if you're Atlanta.
Atlanta might like that after a line pass from Atuesta that seemed a bit dangerous, but he knew what he was doing. Found a way through. Thiago. Trying to cut it wide for Angulo. Adrian Marin. Combination play. Atuesta. Thiago. Big season acquisitions. Thiago curling it in for Adrian Marin. Ivan Angulo. One of the holdovers for Orlando. That one Open Cup in 2022. Rolling out of the team back then. For the mainstay he's been ever since. 7 assists last season. 5 goals, 10 assists the year prior. 7 assists already this season. Dangerous player Angulo. Another danger the other way. Fortune pushing it ahead for Baez. Floated for Miranchuk. The header back post. It's wide.
Great progression, though. This is a nice move here for Atlanta United. Reassert yourself up high. Great job as you start to move forward here for Dre Fortune, holding David Brekalo. Perfect amount of air down underneath. There's a slight hesitation with Marin drifting back over, which doesn't allow Miranchuk to fully power through it, but should have done better with that ball.
Year-old Russians, 5 goals and 2 assists this season. For a $12 million transfer fee, brought him to Atlanta back in July of 2024. A tumultuous time for the club. Managers in, managers out. Players in, players out. Right now in 14th in the East. Atlanta, things are tight though in the Eastern Conference, and I expect the standings to change a lot as this year goes on. Teams are about to enter a month-and-a-half long break. Both these teams play on the weekend, and then not again till the later portion of July, the World Cup break. Thiago through. Ellis back to Thiago. Save made by Hibbert. The offside flag stayed down.
That's an incredible read by Jaden Hibbert to come off his line. Felt like in the moment, 100% in an offside position. No doubt about it. Certainly we have the ability to take a look on video after the fact. Still a great read by Hibbert. I mean, to step up quickly, closing down that space. Long frame, Jaden Hibbert. Really explosive goalkeeper that did well for himself in the chance that he was given last match win over Charlotte FC.
Orlando may be thankful that VAR didn't enter the equation a couple of rounds ago when they had that late drama against FC Naples. Well, this one scores through for Angulo. Dorsey on the backside. Angulo to Dorsey. It's 2-0 Orlando.
It's a brilliant ball off the back line. Again, the way that they shift in combination, the over-rotation, they're always going to have a body on the width. Usually Dorsey and Angulo. And Angulo does a great job. He starts to drift back to the near touchline, flattens his run, and then explodes over the back shoulder of Matt Edwards. Couldn't do enough to get a touch on it. Almost lost his window. That touch right there. Should have played it first time. Fortunate that the defender on the far post run isn't able to regain a dominant position to get in front of Dorsey. The loss of Freeman in the offseason, the addition of Griffin Dorsey He has been an absolute constant on the right flank. And now goals in back-to-back matches.
Back-to-back against Atlanta, 3 straight overall, scored in that 4-3 win over Philly as well. He scored in their last Open Cup match, that 4-3 win over New England. He is really finding a groove. And again, it's an assist from his counterpart, the left wing back, Ivan Angulo, who has 7 in the regular season. Takes out another here. Dorsey, no stranger to winning this tournament. He was part of that Houston team that downed Inter Miami in the final in 2023, scored in that match as well. Here we are in the 18th minute. They officially gave Dorsey credit for that goal in the 16th minute. At this juncture of the match on Saturday, that 1-1 draw, this right now is when Orlando scored the first to go up 1-0. And then Atlanta took control of the game, ultimately tying it late 1-1. This one feels a lot different than the game felt on Saturday. Natural ebbs and flows in that one. This feels like just an avalanche for Orlando.
The biggest shock to me is about the tactical change for Atlanta United, how you're trying to make sure that you keep the game in front. If it becomes transitional, you've got proper coverage with Baez and Matt Edwards, and yet both on the recycled set piece where you don't get out quick enough, yes, a dead ball situation, but still with bodies defensively, and then the ball and the counterattacking moment we just saw. Credit to the ball movement. There's no reason that ball gets in behind. The number one rule is going to be keep it in front, eliminate that diagonal, and instead, really poor defending, conceded way too much space, and the 2 early goals have put you behind the 8 ball.
How does Tata Martino's side respond? Matelat, Fortune scored on the weekend, almost did so again, stinging the hands of Javier Otero. Cooper Sanchez. Arnold Hernandez through for Fortune. Given away. It's Dorsey trying to spring the attack for Justin Ellis. So comfortable for a teenager, sneaking it through for Ojeda. Ellis again. Martino Ojeda, flag stays down. Is it going to be 3? Martino Ojeda, saved by Hibbert. Offside flag comes up late.
Even before it, though, it's 2v1 in the midfield, and then it's 3v2. There's no reason this ball should get loose. What an undercut on the pop out by Brian Ojeda. I mean, he gets knocked the first time. Ellis had come down into the pocket, and then the way that they work off of each other, you have to understand that when one comes almost every single time for that front line for Orlando City, the second one's going to peel off. They make sure there's a constant threat on the front and back shoulders, depending on who's there defensively.
Latelat turns in behind. Latelat chipping off the post! Now this has felt like the season for Atlanta, huh? Mistakes, and then you finally get a moment, and you just feel snake bitten.
Again, if you play quick, the high line of the back 3 from Orlando City, they're going to be isolated, and timing will allow you to play this game in more open space. There's 2 in a row. Not enough English on it to check off for Matt Edwards, but I love the one from Latelat moments ago. Again, Robin Janssen gets lured out in this situation. Latelat, great use of his body. Just spins the center back right round. Touch just a tad off. But an understanding now for Atlanta United, though down 2-0, 20 minutes into this game, of where one of your focal points and seams can come from to work through.
And I had 1-3 straight in all competitions, beating Toronto, Charlotte, and Montreal before that loss against the Galaxy 10 days ago, and the tie on the weekend here in Orlando. Corner had been turned for Tata Martino's side, but One of the issues from early in the season popping up so far today. It's fortune for Baez. Poked away. Here's Ellis. Over the top. Flag stays down for now. Ojeda chasing. That'll be a throw for Orlando. Just in those brief moments, you can see why they are so high on Justin Ellis and why the United States youth national team setup is so high on Justin Ellis.
He's got great movement off the ball. His relationship with Martin Ojeda just continues to grow every single time that they're paired together. And I'm not just talking about a 90-minute match. They are working well together behind the scenes in training. And I mentioned a second ago, Joe, the idea that if one's going to go, one stays. The other great thing about that is they both do a good job coming down in to work in combination play, and then all of a sudden they hit you on the outside. Right, so your mind as a defender starts to focus on where are the two biggest threats. Certainly that man, Martin Ojeda, has got to be one of them. Ellis goes too. You face that area of the game. You almost get lulled to sleep because of what ends up back over your shoulder.
Late foul called against Thiago, coming in a bit carelessly. Justin Ellis never did play for Martin Perelman with Orlando City B in Next Pro, but there's a familiarity there. He signed his homegrown deal from the academy while Perelman was the head coach. He trained with them. He never took the field for them. But these are the guys across the field scattered through the lineup in the regular season that, whether they directly played for Perelman at the Next Pro level or trained with him at that level. Look out for Hibbert. Gave it away. Chance to make it three for Thiago. Nightmare for Atlanta. Orlando dominating up by 3.
Decision, too slow. It's a simple movement to the far side of the field, but as the ball rotates onto the back line once again, you got to release. Hibb's got to open up here to force it to the far side of the field. You get cute. Ellis does a great job closing down the passing lane. Hibbert puts himself in jeopardy with the poor touch. And now it's a waterfall effect. One poor decision after another. A chain of events through a half hour that have gone into an absolute nightmare for the Five Stripes. Aggression, perfection, goals from every which way for Orlando City. Full cruise control.
Thiago will say thank you. They're over this year in the offseason from Bahia in Brazil. Didn't have a ton of experience with the first team coming up through their U20s. 52 games, 11 goals. He was efficient. $6 million reported transfer fee in the offseason for the 21-year-old Brazilian. It was interesting when we chatted with Martin Perelman ahead of this game. We asked him what he recalled from that run to
at home. You and I, Josh, had the ability to speak with you on Demay ahead of this game. He said, look, the pressure's on. You're 2 wins away from playing for a final, and this is the type of game that St. Louis City aspires to play into. So understanding here at home, you can just feel and hear the crowd settling into this game, using those people as the 12th man, going to be really important for an early start.
For St. Louis City, they have found some form as of late in Major League Soccer.
NYCFC will have to wait with bated breath. Both those teams were drawn ahead of Orlando and Atlanta. We do have to wait and see in the West as far as who hosts the semis. Colorado through first priority, then Houston, St. Louis second priority, San Jose last. And we know that the eastern side of the bracket will host the final. Orlando has that possibility if they hold on here and make it through the semis to host the final for the second time in a few years. So in 2022 and lifting the trophy that night.
The way the Quakes are playing underneath Bruce Arena, I'm pretty sure anybody in this competition will take any advantage they can get, not having to go on the road.
The words Hustle to win it. Sanchez cutting in, deflects through, Latelat chasing.
That's great defending.
Rulo swarmed, he gave it right back. Edwards. Riley finding Miranchuk, never shy about pulling up for distance on that left peg. Another transitional moment, Dorsey leading the lines. Ojeda with him. Griffin Dorsey with the goal already. Dorsey chipping for Ojeda. Gregerson keeps it out of that. Might have been curling away anyway. He almost put it into harm's way, actually. Latelat doesn't have any support in your picture right now. Finally arrives Miranchuk for touch. Moment gone. To Westa. Every time Orlando gets it in this area, it feels like there's a break coming. The lead is 3-0. It could be more. And it could be coming here. Angulo feeding it through. Ojeda, flag stayed down. Martino Ojeda! Saved by Hibbert, just wide. Out for a corner.
That could be the lifeline you need if you're the Five Stripes. I mean, what a save this is by Jaden Hibbert. He's come up big 3 separate times in the first half, even with the deficit. Unreal run. There's the back shoulder once again for Orlando City. And notice he picks his head up. The trailing run wasn't open, and by the time Dorsey got open, 3 separate players from Atlanta United hit track behind the ball. You don't have the ability to play it central. Instead, rips one to the near side. But Hibbert called into action.
Pouring rain now on Internco Stadium here in Orlando. Attacking at the wall in this first half. The supporters have gotten their money's worth with 3 goals scored at their end. And time enough still for more. From the corner, Brecalo off the post! Nearly a second of his own. Ojeda blocked. That's going to go down as their first shot not on target tonight.
Yeah, it's still one of the more fascinating stats that you can actually hit the object itself and it doesn't count as a shot on target. It's going to be 7-0 right now. 3 amazing saves by Hibbert. That 4th one right there coming off the post. I mean, truly, it is not a stretch of the imagination that could read 7 up on the scoreboard. That's how dominant Orlando City have been in this half.
They're not done. Dorsey hits it! Save made by Hibbert. You said 7? Maybe 8.
Apologies to Dorsey, who wants to go for 2 here. Clean call. I just love the smart decision-making by Orlando City. This could have been a rushed judgment, and instead, very calm. Numbers up once again. Just a flat ball across the top of the box, allowing Dorsey to step through. Well done.
Another corner. Ojeda drops it in. I think the Wilf family ownership group for Orlando and the Vikings fans sitting next to me hope that their other team can be this potent in the offense when the season comes around.
Oh, now you're talking to me. Keep it coming. Long way away from
Kyler Murray
rid of
football.
some of my old nightmares and having new dreams, but I'll start now.
Hey, you said go for 2, and that's where the mind went. That's how good the attack has been tonight for Orlando. 10 shots now, 8 on target. The one that hit the post before was their first shot not on target tonight. 3 goals on the board. Could well be more. These guys have really opened up here these last couple of minutes. Such is life this time of year in Central Florida.
Now it's time to talk about what it needs to look like for Atlanta United come the second half. Tactical adjustment, you have to imagine, and if you're going to make a sacrifice, assuming it is only one change, it's got to be one of the outside backs. I would probably hint at Pedro Amador. It's just who you have to lean towards. Baez has to stay on the field, and that's if you're going to keep Hernandez and the pairing next to Gregerson. Juan Barrocal has been nursing a couple of knocks. Do you want to still run with Matt Edwards' speed? I mean, there's a lot of questions defensively about what you want to do, but that will start to create more uniformity through the overall build. It will feel familiar because that's how they've gone about their business all season long in MLS play so far. You need some space tracked down in the midfield. Can't imagine that Galarza's name isn't being discussed right now as well.
This is something else you have to consider in that moment there, the little shove. These two bitter rivals who are meeting for a second time in 4 days, the score being what it is, what point did the temper start to flare? You know that could be in the offing as well. If this game remains or gets even further out of hand. Another one through. Flag stays down for now. Thiago, a goal already in this half. All alone. Thiago, it's four for Orlando. Flag comes up. Could be checked.
The question here is going to be is if he releases the ball before Thiago steps over the midline. It's tough. Very tight timing on this through ball. Love the run once again. The high back line for Atlanta United still present. And the quick decision making coming out of the midfield. Felt like in the moment he was off. Still smart though.
That's all.
Another case as well that there wasn't much of an argument. Sometimes in some ways the players police themselves. Could also be the scoreline, as much as you'd like to pour on and put this fully out of reach. 3-0, you're not going to really argue over those goals. Not anything in this first half for Atlanta. They've controlled the ball, 60% of the possession just about. Latte La hit the post earlier, gives this one away. Brecalo started the scoring, fouled now by Fortune. Second meeting in Open Cup between these clubs. Semi-final in 2019. Have a look. Right in the middle of your picture, bottom left now.
11, he's off.
Leaning, he's off.
And understand that that player right there for Atlanta United and Ronald Hernandez is the deepest player and steps right through. It's half field. He's over it. He's behind. Well done by the refereeing crew. And while certainly frustration that the call didn't go their way, this is a ridiculous first half. Certainly the most balanced that we've seen under Martin Parelman.
They still got 5 more minutes. Official stoppage time here in this first half. First half that Orlando would want to never end, and Atlanta wished ended about 45 minutes ago.
It still ceases to amaze me that after all these years, your math just continues to get better.
Will Riley. Third time ever these bitter rivals are meeting in a knockout round. Twice in Open Cup, and once in 2024 in the conference semifinals in MLS. All 3 of those meetings have come in this stadium. Orlando got through in the playoffs in 24. Atlanta through in Open Cup in 19. Orlando seem to be on their way here tonight. Something miraculous from Atlanta. On the overlap at Hernandez, something back, maybe no, save made by Otero. Oh, that changes the momentum going into the locker room. Maybe they hold their heads a little taller. Still something on, but Riley lost it in the 8th row.
And this is all about the massive frame that is Javi Otero. We talked about it around the 25th minute mark that this is not just about a secondary goalkeeper getting a look. This young man's got skill. He's already pivoted to the near post. He's stuck up in the ground. The weather conditions not making it easy, and just the utter resilience to explode quickly onto the right side of his torso. Excellent save.
You mentioned that he was behind Gillespie, now he's behind Crepol. He's been a part of Venezuela's senior team. He was called up for a friendly against the United States in 2025. He started at their youth levels. It's a weird setup where you have a goalkeeper who's getting looks for his senior national team, but he's not even finding regular first-team minutes at his club. That's how good he's been for Orlando City B when he's been asked to play there, and it's just the respect that they have for him, knowing what he was behind in a club legend in Gillespie, and now in a potential World Cup starter in Grippo.
For everything that has been Orlando City going forward, by the way, notice the discipline defensively. We haven't even had the chance because they've been so good coming the opposite way. Clean defensive lines within that 5. If they flatten out into a 4, they've staggered well within the midfield. They almost bait Atlanta United to come high and bring that back line out because they're so sound on the negative side of the ball. Quick turnover, they step out, they don't reinvent the wheel, Orlando City, and instead make quick decisions to transition rapidly.
First card comes out of the pocket. Stian Gregerson still letting them play so far. Lorenzo Hernandez pulling on the reins a little bit.
They're still not allowed to do that. It's amazing that that rule hasn't been approved by IFAB, but as much as I want to side with my center back brethren, it's the stud to the back ankle, the infraction with the upper torso, and the 2 hands at the end that really get you.
Some Sunday leaguers watching, looking at that and saying, that's clean. One more minute of stoppage time before a half will thankfully end for one side and unfortunately for the other. And we're maybe not done yet. Thiago in behind with options. Thiago! The exclamation point of the first half for Orlando!
To say it's been coming for Thiago is no stretch whatsoever. Jaden Hibbert has done everything he could in this first half to keep Thiago out of the back of the net, but the onslaught has continued. 3 hung up on him in the first 30 minutes, but any player that can wants to be involved. Great movement off the back line. Quick balls from the width. This time, Brian Ojeda with a magical through ball that just dissects the whole back 5. Speed, strength, and agility for Thiago. Crazy to think that it's only 4. That is how perfect it has been for Orlando City.
One for Brecalo, 1 for Dorsey, 2 for Thiago, and the whistle goes. Orlando 4, Atlanta nothing. I don't know what we expected necessarily coming in, Devin, after they met on the weekend to a 1-1, but I don't think it was this.
This is something special. It's something special as a manager that you walk in and say, unreal. Everything that we have worked on over now a 13.5 game stretch just took place, and I'm really proud of you. But guess what? It ain't over. You want your name in lights? You want to repeat history of 2022? You got 45 minutes to allow yourself the opportunity to do so. Promise you, Martin Perelman will be the first one to say, we are not done yet.
A near perfect first half for Orlando City. Heads drooping on the Atlanta side as they walk off the field here in the rain in Orlando. Happened early, Brecalo in the 5th minute. He just did not relent from that point onward. Dorsey in the 16th, Thiago in the 24th, and then 45 plus 5 attacking at the supporters' end in the first half. And able to enjoy it, all those supporters through half number one. More goals, could have been more. A disaster for Atlanta, a dream for Orlando. Does not get better than that for the home fans. Haley Sutton, Tony Miola, Mike Grella, and Charlie Davies trying to make sense of that first half at the break. I think Mike Grella and Charlie Davies might want to put their boots on and play for Orlando after watching that first 45. All Orlando. Lobjanidze. Atlanta. Wholesale changes for Tata Martino. Matias Galarza in there as well. Latte Lot hit the post in the first half. A chance to bring them back to within one. It would have been 2-1 at the time. Orlando left to right in the purple, Atlanta right to left to the beige and green trimmings. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us. And underway now in half number 2 on Paramount Plus, the quarterfinal, and it's Orlando dominating 4-0. Orlando has been outstanding as of late in the attack. The issue has been they've been conceding still quite a high clip, but this is their 4th time scoring 4 goals in the last 8 games. Galarza also just came on for Atlanta. 4 changes were made. Deflected on the way through, away from Sava Lobjanidze.
A little bit surprised with the decision to remove Elias Baez instead of Pedro Amador, but they have gone the direction of dropping more into consistent 4. Edwards, Gregerson, Berrocal, and Amador will round out what will be a more tempered expectation of removal of space and time. It wasn't the first half. You'll get Galarza with his ability to push the identity further, close down centrally, and get more pressure overall. Something that was also removed from the decision-making of the 5 stripes in the opening 45 minutes. Even as Sava Lobjanidze comes onto that front line, expect more rotation between he and Maranchuk down underneath Latte Lot to convolute some of the numbers. Orlando were able to make more present in the engine room.
So again, it's Berrocal for Hernandez on the back line. Justin Muyumba for Jay Fortune in the midfield. And further up the field, Sava Lobjanidze for Elias Baez and Matias Galarza for Will Riley. 4 changes for Tata Martino after giving up 4 goals in half number 1. Amador through, Galarza just beyond his reach. You have to start somewhere. It's a very improbable road back. In the bigger picture, if there isn't an immediate goal in this second half, that gives them some hope, and there may be. Lobjanidze delivering it through, and nothing doing as Dorsey clears. If there isn't that comeback, you're just hoping for something to hang your hat on it. And these last 45 for Atlanta. You've got one more game in the regular season coming up this weekend on the road against Columbus. So you have the extra day of rest as Columbus play their Open Cup match tomorrow. And then you have 2 months off nearly. They don't play again until July 17th after the World Cup break. Even if it's not a comeback, can you score 2? Can you just find a way to cut into it? Team that started to turn the corner, and then tonight, reverted back to some old habits. Galarza.
Who knows exactly what you're going to run into on the weekend against the Columbus Crew if you're Atlanta United. Massive amount of change on the weekend. Henrik Rudstrom relieved of his head coaching duties. Laurent Courtois, assistant under Wilfred Nancy, former head coach of Montreal, and then an assistant again under Rudstrom, has been named as the interim in the meantime.
It officially materializes for Orlando. It's an interesting encounter between Brian Ojeda and Matias Galarza, 2 players who maybe 23 days from now are taking the field as teammates from Paraguay against the United States in the World Cup opener. Wonder if it's brought back for a yellow card when play stops. Galarza by the tactical foul. And it did to a chance for Orlando. Now the other way, look, Janitze poking it through by Janssen. At the very least, Atlanta seems to have a different energy about them in the second half. I can only imagine the tongue lashing they might have received at the break.
Thiago behind the scenes is worse for the weather. He's really limping. Wouldn't be shocked if 11 from Orlando went down. Just can't string any real stretch of steps together. Just off the screen to your right centrally. A much better job overall defensively for Atlanta United right now. Good pressure on the back three. When you're forcing the ball, it's usually into a one-on-one situation where either the midfielders or the wingbacks aren't able to face the field and instead have to play negative.
Change coming on the Orlando side of the equation. Luis Otavio replaces Tuesta in the midfield. 19-year-old Brazilian Otavio, his first U20 call for Brazil, his first cap back in the March friendly window. Appearances, 5 starts and a goal in MLS this season. A fee of just over $3 million. Position in the offseason for Otavio. Thiago. Ojeda. Well, sitting on a hat trick of his own, remember, Thiago. With 2 in that first half. Angulo. Cleared. Pittelkout. As they seemed left for dead early on, Orlando, with the start they had, 1-5 in their first 6 games. As bleak as the record looks, it's even worse when you dig a bit deeper. 5 goals scored, 23 allowed in those 6 games. They've gone from the depths of that opening stretch to now sitting just 3 points back of a spot in the play-in. Got momentum. You've got a game on the weekend. And then you have what could amount to a mini preseason of sorts. Your inner manager stepping in. Janitze, end line, cutting it through. The flicked header is wide. And up for a goal kick. You're liking what you're seeing if you're an Orlando City supporter. In the immediate future and seemingly very likely advancing into the semifinal of this tournament, but also in the bigger picture, a team that, again, seemed left for dead. Going to be talking about a playoff race when the season resumes.
I can definitively tell you that it will be a preseason. Every manager that we've got the opportunity to speak to is looking forward to not only the break, to get healthy, then get all your ducks in order, and also to start to combine any movement in the transfer market that will be players picked up, and whether they're involved in the World Cup or not is a different conversation. Just the idea that you can gain momentum right now that then can help reinforce the ideas for Inter Martin Karaman and continue to add layers to what has been an amazing resurgence of form.
It's been a long night for Atlanta United fans. Hour gone, half hour remains. On a night like tonight, the euphoria for the home-standing Orlando fans feels that much sweeter. A spot in the semifinal, a win over your rival. And the sting of it has to feel that much worse for the Atlanta supporters who made the trip.
And they're just one game off that conversation as well for Orlando City, nipping on the heels of the final playoff spot in MLS. With all the matches that are going to come on the backside of this, though, fast and furious for sure. Year 20 for most teams, and a crazy run-in on the back end of the World Cup. Quality of roster, the money attributed to one of the more high-priced units in all of MLS. Atlanta United have certainly struggled to get themselves going. They've fallen steam recently, and even if the spectacular turnaround doesn't come tonight, you do have a Maxime Crépeau.
He won't have to come in. Otero's back to his feet. They're looking at his hamstring.
You've got quality defending. What you really need is more of a presence up high and activity in the transfer market of the 9 that would really alleviate some pressure for this unit overall.
That's the other thing to remember when the season resumes. You know, it's been, I know what I'm about to say sounds wrong. Let me explain it for a second.
Can't wait.
It's been 8 years since a proper World Cup as far as the timing of transfer window.
Yeah.
What we see after a summer World Cup, a frenzy of players in and out. The last World Cup happening when it did in November or December, it didn't allow for that typical market. So you know that there's going to be a lot of movement for these teams, and Atlanta, they're never afraid of spending. So for the first time in 8 years, you're going to see that proper transfer window after a World Cup. Telling what might be in store. Nevertheless, switching to the split calendar as well after a sprint season to begin 2027, then picking up that first official 2027-2028 season. It's also going to bring a number of different eyes and potential players in the league.
Benitez was not happy with the extracurricular right there. Not enough in it on that replay. Possibly some movement off the ball just prior. Got to keep pressure here. It's tailored off over the last 8 minutes. Good start to the second half, but the rapidity of ball movement at a premium for Orlando City. Doing a really good job of changing the shape of Atlanta United in front of them due to their quick decision making.
Heavy challenge there. Luis Hernandez will bring it back. The substitute Luis Otavio on the receiving end, and Cooper Sanchez picks up the yellow card.
That's certainly the right decision by the referee. I can also understand why Cooper Sanchez makes the split second right here. He peeked over his shoulder just prior to entering your screen and saw that the back line was high, more space to be acquired by Orlando City in transition. You're doing anything you can as a midfielder to prohibit that ball in behind.
Those of you who might be joining us while St. Louis and Houston are on halftime, you missed a lot. And it all came pretty early for Orlando. Brecalo in the 5th minute, Dorsey in the 16th, Thiago in the 24th, and then in first half stoppage time. All adding up to this 4-0 scoreline. Those of you that have been with us here on Orlando and Atlanta the whole time, it is 2-1 Houston leading on the road at halftime over St. Louis City.
I'm trying to figure out which overall line of stats puzzles me more. In the first half, Orlando City, 11 shots, 9 on target is what they finished with after 45. And the 10th one, by the way, should have been added. It hit the post. Expected goals only 1.75. Now, with the quality of chances they put in front of us, how is that possible?
It's a fair point, and it's maybe some of the issue with expected goals. Some coaches do get bogged down in it, others don't. Some of us in the broadcast booth do and don't. Windo's going to pick up a yellow card. Hey, I'm with you. The way we watched that first half, the breakaways that we saw, the 2v1s that we saw, I expected the expected goals to be maybe north of 5, considering the 4 that were scored.
Just overall frustration here from Tristan Muyumba. Behind the scenes, Martin Ojeda trying to work off in the pocket again with Brian Ojeda on the half turn.
Gregerson, Muyumba, and Sanchez all with yellows now for Atlanta. It's just about the only statistical category they're leading Orlando in tonight is the yellow cards, 3-0. So a shout for possession going their way at about 60-40. Outside of that, it has been all Orlando. with Houston leading elsewhere, the 2023 champions. Orlando, the 2022 champions, could have one team on either side of the bracket in the semifinal who has won this tournament since the resumption of it post-COVID. Start doing the permutations on potential finals that you can see. Orlando-Houston final will be interesting in the recent history in this tournament. Telat. Janitze. Corner coming for Atlanta. This is their first corner of the evening. As it stands, Orlando would visit either Columbus or New York City. Semifinal window is September 15th and 16th. Long gap to the World Cup and the MLS resumption. Janitze swings it in. Otero punches clear. Muyumbo waiting for it. Maybe he should have thought better.
The idea you're going to get back into this game is vastly slipping for Atlanta United. Not that anybody's expecting them to figure out a way to pile 4 into the back of the net. It's a good start to the second half. With just outside 20 minutes to go, the emotion has faded. Frustration has started to boil over in a lot of defensive matchups, and the passion to get back into this game and find a way into the semifinal is quickly removing itself from the 5 stripes.
Ellis, a terrific night offensively for Orlando. He's been maybe one of the few quiet pieces.
Well, that's something in decision making, though, that isn't going to show up on any statistician sheet. Not playing the ball to Ojeda. It's a great decision. Again, at times you'll see them both drop back in, but a lot of times when the Orlando City front line starts to compress, it's usually a 1-for-1. One player that comes, the second one jumps up high to make sure that the back line of their opposition has a threat. And as Justin Ellis came, Ojeda released, is in an offside position. Very smart to hold possession, retain, move the opposite way, and it's gifted away at the end. But clean decision making like that from a youngster is exactly what you want from your head coach.
A lot of buzz around Ellis right now. Youngchuk feeds it across. Telat hesitates, waits for it. Cleared off of Janssen. Angulo hustles and avoids conceding the corner. Mentioned the eyes on Ellis. Obviously, we have a World Cup to enjoy in just a couple of weeks, but you're always looking as to what's around the bend. That first national team camp after a World Cup is typically when you see a lot of younger players called in who could make up the next cycle. A lot of people talking about Ellis perhaps being in that picture with the form he's been in as of late for Orlando City. Just turned 19 5 days ago, Justin Ellis. He's only 7 games into his young MLS career. Has now 3 starts with a goal and an assist in Open Cup. To add on to it. Millar's up. All the good work he's done in the defensive midfield tonight. Brian Ojeda does have 2 assists as well. He assisted Thiago's second goal and Brekelo's opener. Janitze. Tino Ojeda switches. Then he'll advise. Pressure was there immediately from Edwards. Going back for Otero. Dorsey. Martino Ojeda. Gregerson chasing, early ball in, out for a corner.
This is where you want to see a different look starting to enter the box if you're Orlando City, and Justin Ellis, as good as he is with his back to goal, comfortable combination play in the pocket, his box entries are where he's going to take his game to another level. And as they spring free in transition, just a little bit off in terms of timing, and now he's trying to attack the top of the six against Atlanta.
Of changes being ready for Orlando. We're told Thiago is one of the players coming off, so this corner might be his only and final opportunity to complete his hat trick. From the corner, Brecalo is lurking. Ryan Ojeda nods it back. Bruno started at the feet. Martino Ojeda fakes, now delivers. Ojeda, Brecalo gets it along. Well done, keeping it in play, the hustle. Ellis, Ojeda. Ellis through the legs. Whoops. Galarza conceding another corner.
Come on, son. Justin Ellis just out there having fun now. With some kind of confidence for the homegrown. Not that far from what we saw in the first half, where a recycled set piece ended up in the back of the net for Orlando City. Ryan Ojeda was the one who started that one this time around. Justin Ellis doing a really good job at just 19 years old, you heard that right, of maintaining possession and being a constant threat.
Ojeda in swinger. That'll end his night. We're told he's the second of the two coming off for Orlando with Thiago. Here come those changes. Duncan McGuire and Zakaria Taifi will replace Thiago and Martino Ojeda. And it's a very big night for the young Brazilian Thiago. 2 goals. A fun first half for Orlando City. These goals made it 3 and 4-0, putting it just about out of reach.
They were wild in the first half for Orlando City. Great pressure defensively. They did a good job from restarts. When they transitioned, though, from about 40 yards their own, they lured the back line of Atlanta United up into the space and just absolutely catapulted themselves in behind. Thiago had 2. Orlando City had 4. That last one just before halftime, and it's been all about game management ever since.
Quarter of an hour remaining. Remember way back at the beginning of the broadcast, we showed you how Orlando got here, squeaking 1-0 against Naples. And then, a lot, something here for Atlanta. Looking through. The inserted Sergio Santos drops it back. Galarza. You had that 1-0 against Naples, and then you had that 4-3 against New England, where they trailed 3 times. Who'd have thought that their easiest night at the office so far would be in the quarterfinal against their bitter rival? Not for a moment second-guessing the result of this game.
Certainly the removal of Alexei Moranchuk for Atlanta United by Tata Martino, waving the white flag. Trying to set themselves up for success now on the weekend, giving his attacker a break. Similar conversation for Orlando City, with McGuire and Taifi coming in. You know, we discussed this around the 60-minute mark about what the run-in could be to finish off a nice turnaround for Orlando City. Their makeshift preseason coming out of the World Cup, and then the second portion of the season. You're rotating pieces right now with 15 minutes to go. You have Cincinnati on the weekend. You have a chance to grab 3 points from the team sitting right in front of you in the standings. Well done by the coaching staff.
Just have to wonder what the Orlando City players are feeling right now, between the ears and inside the chest more than anything else. They have to be feeling good about no manager, maybe some tweaks, young players stepping in. Like, as a human being, when you're in this sort of spell, you feel some level of invincibility, and it's taken even a few notches higher when you down your rival like this. I know in recent years this rivalry has maybe taken a back seat to the Florida Derby with it from Miami, but this is still the one that's a decade long with more history, and these two teams don't like each other. Used to feel awesome for Orlando City. Of any stoppage there. Latelat was looking at the referee for confirmation. Janite lays it off for Galarza. Wants to get it to his left foot if he can. Muyumba. Latelat. Coming in. Latelat off the chest. Taken by Brian Ojeda. The offside flag up, ending the threat for Atlanta.
There's a coming to within the midfield that just they felt a bit uncomfortable upon review of the secondary effort. Santos took one, there it was behind the scenes, and I haven't called his name, it's on Latelat. Just so many moving pieces for this Atlanta United attack that it's never seen everyone headed in the same direction at the same time.
Actually, if you look at the price tags of Amiran Chuk and Latelat and Miggy Almiron and so on and so forth, you'd think there'd be more. Injuries, form, coaching changes, tactical tweaks, it's just never come together. Maria Taifi. Navio Ojeda. And Dorsey. It's been a while since he's had much involvement. He did his damage early. He's goal in the 16th minute, scoring for a second time in 4 days against Atlanta. Almost in the same minute, too. It was the 17th on Saturday, the 16th tonight. Second half has begun between St. Louis City and Houston Dynamo in St. Louis. 2-1, Houston leads. Tour and Mateusz Bogusz with the 2 goals for Houston. Over 10 remaining now before this becomes officially official for Orlando.
You got to give something to your manager to think about here, regardless of what jersey you're wearing. Your Orlando City rotation opportunity in front of the